So, welcome back to the Frameless Forum of the Jena FullDome Streaming Festival. On day 2 of this amazing event, it's Friday, May 15th. The weather is fair, unless it's raining somewhere else, somewhere in the world. And now this is a beautiful way of introducing the theme of water to our presentation of amazing people that deal with immersive VR, AR, FullDome media. If I'm not mistaken, I see right in my very eyes Claudia and Hendrik Schmitt of the Jetlagged company. And are you there, Claudia and Hendrik? Can you see and hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Very good. Yes, excellent. Yeah. So, we're talking about the combination of water and the 360 media and the love of oceans. And you seem to belong to the kind of people, and I know a number of these are very FullDome affinity people who really find a way to describe what brings them to a love of diving and the ocean and what brings that love of the ocean into the 360 media. Is that question making sense, or do you want to start from another point of view? But anyway, it's all yours. Tell us who you are and what you do and what you love.
It makes a lot of sense because all three of those things are we. We bring it all three together. So actually, we just made it the other way around. For us, it started with a love for the ocean. Then we started diving, and then we started filming underwater, and then we came to the 360 VR underwater experiences. So it all came with a love for the oceans. And that is actually also the reason why we do that. So we are filmmakers, underwater documentary filmmakers and environmentalists since over 10 years already. And we always had the idea, or the question was, what can we do for our oceans, and how can we actually save our oceans or help them with the problems they have today? And our idea always was to make the people fall in love with the ocean, because if they love something, they will start to protect it. And so our films were always around the ocean, of course, about the beauty, but also about the problems our oceans are facing nowadays. And so we made a lot of films about coral reefs and how beautiful they are, but also about the bleaching problems, about different kinds of animals down there, like manta rays and that. And but after like 3 years ago, a friend of ours came to us with a project and a 360 VR project, and asked us if we want to do that. And I was like, yeah. She was like, have you ever done something in 360? And I said, like, no, not really. And she was like, do you want to do something in 360? And I said, like, yeah, why not? And so we had a shooting going on in Indonesia 2 weeks later. And I think one day before our flight went, I got the camera for the first time. So I jumped into the water, not knowing what I'm going to do with it, actually. Didn't know like how to hold it, how close can I go to an object to actually film it nice in 360. So it was all shoot and try. But it worked out quite well. And yeah. And also the reactions of the people worked out quite well. So we went, yeah.
It sounds like a very spiritual discipline of jumping into the unknown can be transferred to jumping into the cold water, as ins kalte Wasser springen, as we say in German, and exposing yourself to skills that you don't have yet, but acquire in the process of filming. So I think it's encouraging for anybody. If you want to acquire a new skill, just jump into the unknown, jump into the water, jump into experiences of 360 degrees. Claudia, can you confirm this discipline, or what is your perspective on that?
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, you should always just go for what you love, what you want to do, just give it a try. For us, we had the experience with underwater filming with normal cameras and big cameras, but then when we got the 360 camera, it completely changed our way to work. It's just a completely different technology, a completely different approach, and it's so much more post-production work, I think, more than what we even expected. Yeah, we definitely jumped into the cold water. We jumped into the water with a brand new 360 camera, and we've been in love with it ever since, even though it's tricky technology and a lot of work. But yeah, we enjoy it, and I definitely encourage other people to do so.
Yeah,
That's
really
good.
changed. It really this perspective, and it is a different perspective, 360 to normal film. So I learned making normal films for 20 years, leaving stuff out of the frame to make it a good picture, and now I had to realize that everything, including me as a cameraman, will be in the picture. So it's a completely different view onto things. But I really enjoyed also the process of thinking about how to make, how to work with this new medium. It's because you didn't know how long it should be. It needs to be a bit longer than a normal 2D film. And so it was a lot of like trying it out, checking it out,
Yeah.
and
But,
then of course to the people.
That's exactly why this discussion forum here is called the Frameless Forum, because it's kind of thinking outside the box and filming outside the frame, and realizing that reality as we know it in your living room as much as in the Salve studio here is always 360 degrees, and it's only an illusion created by the limitations of conventional movie making, that we think reality should be compartmentalized and pigeonholed into this frame. And it reminds me of a talk that we had yesterday with underwater cinematographer Lawrence Curtis. And we discussed that actually for environments like space, astronauts, and underwater divers, the surround experience and the not having a flat surface or horizon to get an orientation from, it's much more natural to really experience a 360-degree world and also then film it with a 360-degree technology. So actually we are bringing the audience closer to the reality of space and ocean, and make them aware of there are areas in our beautiful world where you don't stand and look straight into direction, but where you tumble and fall and float and fly and dive up and down. And so I think in a way the challenges of 360 underwater filmmaking are the challenges of communicating the reality of an experience to an audience that still is glued to their seats sometimes.
Yeah, that's exactly what we always say. And suddenly being on land feels even more restrictive because there is the bottom. And we only have a 180-degree dome when we are on land. But as you said, in space and underwater, we do have the 360 world all around us. There's stuff happening above us, left, right, behind us, and below us, and we can see all of it. And recreating that in a video, in a 360 video, it's absolutely showing the reality that we experience there too when we film it.
And even to another point, because when you go diving, you miss a lot of stuff. So when you go down there and you come out of the water and your body tells you like, have you seen the turtle or the manta ray there? And you're like, no, I watched in a different direction, haven't seen it. And so the same thing I experienced with the people watching the 360 films, because I'm like one of the directors who is not going to bring everything in front of them. I like to keep the curiosity of 360 there. So the manta ray can be behind you. And so the people have to watch the film again and will experience something else because they haven't looked into that direction. So it is definitely pretty close to reality if you go diving. Even with the headsets nowadays, it actually looks like a diving mask. So when we try it on divers, they always say like, this is like pretty like real diving.
Yeah, just give me a regulator and the tank so I can get that feeling of breathe compressed air as well.
So my next step will be getting a water gun and just spray in their face while they're having the experience to make it.
A little bit in for surprises. Well, I think that's an important point, that the evolution of the 360 media is also a kind of a teaching challenge to invite people into a new mode of perception. So that's happening with more productions coming out of this. And it just, as you mentioned, there is no bottom line. I think you can confidently say the bottom line of 360 is that there is no bottom line, or there is no bottom. But there is space, and there's 360-degree reality. So with all this in mind, and your curiosity and your fantastic skills, what do you think is next? What are you working on? What do you try to do next? What's on the agenda in 360?
So what we learned throughout showing those films, because we were lucky to show our films to an international audience everywhere on the planet, and we realized that the immersive effect is very big. So the people, like in the beginning when they watch the films, they're all like still chatting with their friends, but then you see their mouth, the muscles relax, everything goes down, and they're gone if your film is right. And so it really takes the people somewhere or somewhere else to a new place they haven't been before. So I have this one wonderful example of a lady in San Francisco, an older lady. She saw our film, she took off the headset and she was crying. And then I asked her, like, why are you crying? Was the film so bad? And she said, like, no, it wasn't bad, but I cannot swim. So she's never been to the ocean, and she said, like, this is the closest experience I will ever have to go diving in the ocean and see manta rays and those incredible coral reefs. And so I was like quite impressed about that comment of hers. So I said to her, like, just look it again, watch the film again, please. So it really takes the people to really, like, it's like a real experience for them. So what we are doing right now is we try to use this medium to change things and to change perspective, of course. So our next project will be about the problem of plastic pollution in our oceans. So we will actually throw the people into dirty water, bring them to beaches which are full of plastic, and also to a big burning trash dump in Indonesia. So we go to the bad places you don't see as a normal tourist, or you don't want to see, and try to give the people that experience to also change their normal behavior on their normal day to make everything a little bit better.
I think it's never too late for a wake-up call, but I hope it's not too late, but definitely it's an important thing to do. Have you ever considered producing for the medium of FullDome, which of course is what this festival is all about?
Oh, yes. Yes. So it actually a completely different story. It happened a couple of weeks ago. In winter times, I work up in Lapland at the Polar Circle to photograph aurora, northern lights.
Very good. Yes.
So I did a 360, of course, a 360 film about aurora, because it's also happening everywhere around you. And then my boss said, like, oh, we have this expo in London and we have a dome there. Can we do something for that? And so I made a version for the dome. And I really loved the dome experience because it's a group experience. People are standing together, holding hands, watching the northern lights or underwater. And so while that was going on with the 360 Northern Light show, I of course rendered some underwater stuff like a wreck dive, and also tried it in that dome. So I definitely say the dome experience is a very, very cool medium.
Perfect. And Claudia and Hendrik, I definitely invite you to consider submitting any of your work for the next FullDome Festival, which is in the wonderful year of 2021 in the May. And then I'd be really excited. Maybe you find a way to have an immersive experience of Northern Lights underwater with manta rays coming from behind. And,
why not?
Yes, why not? It's all possible. These are the ways that immersion becomes really a new type of narrative. So hope you're encouraged, and hope to see you in Jena sometime.
Of course. We would love to come. Yeah.
Okay.
We take
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you very much for your insight into the into the depth of the ocean and the depth of ocean love. I think we have a little film that shows some of your work that we'll show right after this talk. Thank you for joining us, and continue your wonderful work in the immersive 360 environments of space, water, dome, northern lights, and wherever. So thank you, goodbye, and see you at any of the next FullDome festivals.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.